Hello, everybody. Oh. Hi, Diana.
Hey, I was having trouble
Hey.
joining from the other screen,
Oh,
but now
I
I'm,
got you in the waiting room now. I'm gonna hit admit, all right?
yeah, perfect.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah. All right. Get out of this one.
I'll remove you.
Oh, perfect.
There we go. That better?
Oh, way better.
Good. Good.
I don't know why it wasn't
Um,
cooperating. It's just kind of the day it is today.
yeah, they've been doing a lot of updates. I feel like I keep running into walls myself. Yeah, so all right. Burns, welcome back. You have fun in France?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
Yes.
it was great. Did a lot of hiking. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do much knitting. So before I left, got some of my at least for this, and I'm working on the back now. So, but I worked a little on the
Hey.
winter sweater. So, but no, I didn't get
Nice.
much done because I was just the hiking like wiped me out. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. You're not hiking the mountains and knitting at the same time. You're no Andrea Mowry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a little bit dangerous on those rocks, like hiking and knitting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You got to keep your head down. Dangerous. Yeah, dangerous.
yeah, fall off of a cliff.
Um,
So,
well, Burns, your sweater looks beautiful.
thanks.
Yeah, well done. Nice. All right. Well, Jody, we made this mistake last night. I'm not going to do it again. You got to be able to take the sweater off. You came in costume.
I did.
Look at you. Looking good.
Oh, yeah, it's hot as hell, so I'll be taking it off in a moment.
That's
But
what I was saying. I don't
yeah,
want to miss. I don't want to miss
but
the opportunity to see it on a human.
yeah, yeah. And like I said, the V-neck is like a slight V, but actually I really like it. Like I think it's a good kind of it's hard because I got a dark t-shirt on underneath, but yeah, it's a good, I can get my head through, not exposing anything, but
Yeah.
not boat neck. I don't think I could have done that. So yeah, I'm pleased.
It
Yep.
looks awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
yeah,
awesome. Well
it's good.
done,
It's gonna be
Jody.
toasty. So I think I will remove
Yeah,
remove it
yeah,
now.
that's good. No one, we don't want to lose anybody tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, let's check with Katie. Katie, how about you? How's your sweater?
Oh, it's great. I might have to have like at some knitting something or other, a little tutorial because I did a crocheted steek. No problem. I tried a little hand sewn and that didn't seem to work, so I quickly added a crochet. No problem. And I don't know if it was my problem or I have this impish little 7-month-old puppy who grabbed it. And so I have these, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Let me see if I can see. See this? I don't
Yeah, a
know
little
what
raggy. Little,
the,
yeah.
yeah, so and this is the steek line over here. So something is, lost. So I don't know. I'm wondering if this is my neckline. So if I grab these two stitches, will they stay, do you think?
Yeah, it might be worth going in with maybe a little something to kind of catch that. Maybe a little, do you have a little felting needle,
I
Katie?
do, but this is all superwash.
Oh, yeah, I'd go in there with some hand sewing needle then probably.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah, I did that. Of course, it's the neckline and not
Yeah,
the
it can't
armpit.
be like under here or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
It's
I'm
got
like,
to be
hey,
right
bud,
here.
and I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was him, because it's just a little too, and I was using thin that Shetland wool, so I don't even know if it's 2 strands, for our other class. So, who knows?
Yeah, I'd probably hit that with just a little bit more something reinforcement, Katie. Better safe than sorry, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely shifting.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Other than that, it's great. Hold on, it's now that I have it apart. Yeah, I think it grew a bit. I think everybody is saying that. So it's going to be a nice, cozy, big sweater.
It looks gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done. Really
Yeah.
nice.
And
Yeah.
luckily tonight I got the time zones right. I'm actually in the same time zone. So this is helpful.
That helps. Yeah,
Yeah.
that helps.
Except I think I did try to log in last week and I'm like, how is she going to do that? I must have just put a repeat on my calendar.
Yeah, probably.
I'm like, how is she
Yeah.
gonna do that? Isn't she in Wales?
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't have. You weren't the only one because I get emailed if somebody joins one of the Zooms
Yeah.
that I scheduled. So I had a few, Katie. You
Okay.
weren't alone.
I
Yeah, you
don't
weren't alone.
know. I'm not usually, I didn't realize that, the party updates automatically. So I was adjusting and,
Yep. Yeah.
my husband thought I
Oh,
would.
glad you're
Oh,
here.
quick question. So did I miss a discussion on the neckline or is just Jody really fabulous and doing hers ahead of
Jody
time?
did her own thing. She's way ahead of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I stopped because I'm like, wow, this could be a really large neckline with my long. That seems long, but maybe 3 inch, 3.5 or whatever this is good.
Yeah. Yeah. With the short rows. Yeah. Yeah.
It
I think
adds
it's gonna
up.
be great. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it anyway, so it doesn't matter,
Great.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not worried about it, Katie. I think it looks great. It looks like mine. Jody?
I just wanted to mention, even though she was saying that she's using superwash wool, depending on how it was superwashed, you could still try felting it, because if it wasn't like superwashed in the raw, like in the fleece, but as yarn afterwards, I mean, my daughter felted some acrylic, like she just spent a lot of time. So you still might, if you have a felting needle and you're really like, it's really just a small section, you still might be able to grab it. It might really work.
Okay, because what I'm worried about is that if I can't really do it from the front side because you'll see it felting right up here at the neckline. So,
Well,
and
we
I
are
don't
going to be picking up stitches,
Yeah.
Katie. So, where we're picking up stitches will hide that whole steek panel on the inside anyway. So, if you go in like right there, right where your right where the issue is, it won't show it all.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
I'll
talk
try.
about picking up stitches more tonight too, so that'll probably
Okay.
help.
Okay.
All right. All
Thanks
right.
for your guidance, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Jody. All right, let's check in with Miss Leanne. Leanne, how's your sweater?
So it's good. I really struggled with the neck, so I just stopped because so I have, my arms are steeked, my armpits, and I'm doing the crew,
Yeah.
and it seems like such a little area that I bound off my neck stitches. This is the front. So I just kind of waited because I wasn't quite sure.
Let me get mine.
And I don't know if anyone else is doing a crew and if they finish theirs, but
I had the same problem with my neckline, even though I'm doing a V on the back. I didn't think I had enough. So I just dropped a couple so it gave me 4 extra stitches. That was it.
I mean, I'm concerned, but I'm not concerned because I like it tighter versus looser, which is why I'm doing the crew versus the boat neck. So it might work out okay, but I just decided I'm just going to stop. Okay, so that's quite a bit of crew.
Yeah, I don't know why this is it. This lighting is.
No, but I can see you probably have
you can see here. Oh, here, my hands help. Yeah, I just can't concentrate because it's so dark. But here's my initial bind off.
Okay, so yeah, that's what mine is. Yep.
Yeah, you continue to decrease.
But I don't think I'm not decreasing, right?
Why not?
Because I thought we were ignoring our decreases.
You aren't ignoring your decreases.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, you're only ignoring the decreases if you get to the shoulder width that you want to match the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
So
okay.
yeah, Leanne, I would say I think that start really mimics the start that I have on mine too. It's pretty
Yeah.
narrow, and then because you continue to decrease. So if you just literally follow the instructions in that weekender crew pattern, only you have subbed out the ribbing for
Right.
her.
Yeah, I'm doing the
she does
ribbing.
the
Yes.
stockinette stitch. Yeah. I think that it will work out perfectly.
And I'm just going to pick the size that's closest to the number of stitches I have on each shoulder.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So I will do the decreases
Yes.
and I'll do the short rows and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And I started taking like lots of notes. So, all right.
I believe in you, Leanne.
Yeah, I just decided to stop because.
Yeah. When in doubt, stop.
And I just didn't want to like overthink it and mess it up. So I, similar to Katie, actually, so I felt it. I have a little wonky felt spot from when I cut it. Like everything looks great, but I don't know if you'll be able to see this. It's just like this one little spot.
Oh yeah. The strands are kind of coming out
So
a
I
little.
tried to use my little mini like felting
Yeah.
pen and like the things broke off.
Oh, I know. You kind of need the chunky. You gotta have the chonker.
But I felt
Yeah.
like the chunky one was making it worse, so I just
Yeah.
stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I could still pick up like where I would normally pick up and it'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah, if it starts to make you nervous, get out a needle and thread, Leanne, and just put a couple whip
So just like
stitches
so
in.
like weird shit in there to like
Yep.
put it together.
Yep.
Okay, because
Yep.
I'm not a sewer, so but yeah, I can
It
just
doesn't
like do
have to
that.
be cute.
Okay. I
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah, of course you can. You'll figure it out.
Fine.
Of course you will. Yeah. Yeah. Just get in there. Doesn't have to be cute. Yeah. Other than that, Leanne, you feel okay?
Yeah, I feel better now that I like
We talked
know
it
that I
through.
do need to do the decreases. And I
Yeah.
saw your little small area. And
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm good.
I think it'll be good too. Oh, good. Good. Maybe put in some lifelines there too, Leanne.
I did. I put in,
Oh, good.
I already did. Like I
You got
didn't.
this.
So I waited and I did a row and then I added a lifeline because I'm like, just in case.
Yeah, I like it. Better safe than sorry.
Yep,
Now you won't need it.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great, Leanne. Awesome. Good progress.
Thanks.
All right, Carol, how about you? How's your sweater? All right, I'm gonna hit the button.
I know, you always
Oh,
have to hit
there
the
we go.
button for me. Well, I still have not jumped off to start my ribbing. I'm just very nervous about it. What I did was I did one row all the way around in my ribbing color,
Yeah.
and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to do it over the steep part as well or not. I don't know. I'm just very nervous about doing the short rows, and I think I'm confusing myself even more. So I kind of just stopped. I just have the sweater part. That's it.
Well,
And
so
the-
far so good,
And
Carol.
the steak panels are in. I just haven't
Right,
cut
yeah.
them.
So you can bind off those steak panels, and then move on to the ribbing and the short rows.
Okay. So do I start from the shoulder side on each one, or it doesn't matter? Like in the front?
Your yarn will be on the shoulder side.
Okay.
So, you'll start there, and then you'll follow whatever section you're on for where you're turning and how you're counting. But it'll tell you where you are, depending on what neckline situation you're following.
Yeah, I'm doing the V-neck, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be at a shoulder edge to start.
Well, let's see. What did I do? Yeah, I guess I am at a shoulder. Yeah, I am at a shoulder edge. Okay. All right.
All right.
I don't know. I'm just nervous about it. I don't know why.
Well, throw a lifeline in, like Leanne
Okay.
did. You know, you can always rip back to the lifeline super easily if you get turned around at all.
Okay. And before should I cut my steaks before I do that? The shoulders? Yeah, I
You don't
probably
have
should,
to.
right? I don't
You
have
can,
to.
but yeah,
Okay.
you don't need to.
Okay. All
Depends
right.
on if you're trying to if you're more worried about the short rows or you're more worried about cutting the steaks.
And I'm not really worried about cutting the steaks because I sewed them
Oh.
really well.
Well, great, then cut them open, Carol. Do it.
Okay. All right. I think I'm just worried about getting the short rows right because we want
Yeah.
them shorter on the shoulder edge, right? And then longer on the neck edge. Okay.
Exactly.
And then on the back, I just start again shorter on the shoulder edges and then higher in the middle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just bite the bullet.
Leanne wants you to cut them right now,
Oh, she
Carol.
wants me to cut them right now.
Cut them right now.
No, I will do them. And I'm not nervous about cutting those. Actually, that's the least
Good.
of my worries.
Well, that's actually insane, Carol. Because the only way you can fuck up your sweater is if you cut open your steek wrong. So you being worried about the short rows, which if you mess up is a super easy fix. They're only
Okay.
this big, you
Okay.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't
All right.
have anything to be worried about. Worst case scenario, oh, you get turned around. That's okay. You just rip back like an inch and do it
Yeah,
again.
just do it again. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah, I'm not worried
Right.
about the steaks. I've got them sewed well, so just as long as I
Good.
cut down the middle, I should be good.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. All right,
Okay.
you got this, Carol.
All right,
Post a
thanks.
picture at least, or Leanne's gonna be really disappointed.
Okay, I will. I will.
All right. All
Okay.
right, good. Leanne, we got her. We got her with the pic. Yeah. All right. And Diana, how about you? How's your sweater coming?
Well, I am starting to think about modifications, but I have I've got this all done.
Wow.
So I did
Beautiful.
nine rows or 4.5 patterns of the pattern because I do want it longer because I'm going to use it like a coat. But then I
Yeah.
started thinking, which is always a bad idea because I'm always modifying things, as you know. And so I think what I'm going to do is I've got it about up to here. I think I'm going to do plain purple, and then I'm going to do a ring of this pattern around the neck.
Cute.
And so what I'm starting to work on now are the sleeves because I'm going to take them up from the bottom to attach
Oh,
them.
nice.
Anyway, that's my current plan. We'll see if it works.
I love it. I love it. So talking about getting that pattern in at the neckline, you're going to do a crew?
I'm going to do a crew. Yeah.
A crew? Yeah. So, oh man, I think that's going to be so cool. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. So we'll see. It took me forever, to get the 4.5 pattern in here.
Yeah.
And I also made it big even for me because it's a coat. So
Yeah. It's a layering piece.
right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
well, good. Great
I'm
progress.
psyched.
Yeah.
I am
Well done,
psyched.
Diana.
And,
Good.
yeah, and I literally just started the sleeves.
Nice. Excellent. All right. Let's see. Miss Michelle, how about you? How's your sweater? Good to see you.
Gotta unmute. Hi.
Gotta unmute. Hi.
Mine is going all right. Let's see. I've got my sleeve steeks in. So well, I gotta untake that blur thing off, that little
Yeah, we gotta
function, I
see
guess.
more. We just saw a flash
Unblur,
of it. We
unblur.
gotta see more of that. Oh, look at that. Wow,
Yeah.
Michelle.
So I'm loving it, and I love the squishy. I'm using the, you know, the little package that
Yeah.
Spin Cycle Yarns up in Bellingham. I'm pointing up because I'm in Washington State, so they're north of me. Not in the clouds, but you know. So I'm using all that yarn, and the only thing I'm like stressing about right now is, you
Yeah.
know how Spin Cycle is and it's all the different colors and everything. So two of them, which I used already, and I have like just this tiny little bit left, they like worked out beautifully. So I was able to start with like that kind of almost turquoisey teal and then go into the brown and the purple, then do that again. And then
Yeah.
my other two are kind of different. So now I'm just like, oh, how I'm gonna wind these up so that I get
Yeah.
the colors to go the way I want them to go. But you know, I'm like, well, they'll be on the sleeves, so I'll figure it out. But yeah,
Yeah.
going well.
Yeah. So Michelle, I think that's a really great question.
Yeah.
And I think that you're exactly right about the sleeves because
Hmm.
the repeat for the colors is so much shorter when you
Yeah.
start going around a smaller circumference. The sleeves are going to look different regardless.
Right.
As long as for this part, it's kind of doing what you want it to do in a way that
Yes.
makes sense with the first two. That's the only
Yeah.
thing that I would try to manipulate a little bit. So what you can do is as you're kind of looking through that next skein, you know, kind
Yeah.
of maybe even like cut it in a certain way where you
Yeah.
can get out the parts that make the most sense and manipulate
That's what
it
I'm
a
gonna
little
do.
bit. Awesome. Perfect. You're
Yeah,
an old hat.
yeah. Because I
You're
just
good.
have
You're an
like
old hat at this.
I have
Yeah.
like one more like quilt square basically, like a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
I don't know, like I don't know, a quarter, 1 1/4 left. And I'm like, darn it, this little tiny is not gonna make it. So I have to make it work. And
Get a little bit of it. Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Well, it sounds like you have a great plan. Your sweater's gorgeous.
Thanks.
Yeah, really good progress, Michelle.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to show off my sweater too. Here it is. I got a start on one of the sleeves. So I could kind of get a little bit ahead so we could talk more in depth about how to get the sleeve on. But what I needed to do, speaking of Michelle's color shenanigans, I ran out of my background color because the yarn was a gift, so I didn't, you know, I had what I had. So I kind of knew I was going to run out. And so what I started doing is I started fading it, so you can kind of see there's a little bit of a lighter yellow starting to fade. I did the Andrea Mowry fade to get the yellow to come in. And what I had left up here of my background color, I like weighed it out so I can mimic the same exact thing on the other sleeve. So the sleeves are going to look the same, the way that they're fading, you know, down the sleeve. So I think it's going to look really cute, but I was doing that thing where I was knitting faster because I was like, oh my God, I hope this looks good. Oh my God, I'm going to run out. You know, like, I don't know, knitting faster does not help, but it helped me in the moment. Does anybody else do that? Where you're like, oh, like panic knitting? I was totally panic knitting, but I really think it looks good. So that's what I started. So you can see sleeve action. I mean, Jody's showing her sleeve action too. Sleeves are what we're talking about tonight, picking up stitches and planning out the sleeves. Yeah, look good. And you can totally see the way that Jody's sleeve looks different than the body, the way that the colors are. And it is different in a cool way. So yeah, you just kind of have to lean into it. All right, so today I uploaded a sleeve worksheet into the workroom. If you haven't got that from the workroom, dig in there. It is under support materials. All right, it's just a sleeve worksheet. There's not a whole lot to it. We're going to talk it through, but could help you get your numbers straight, right? It's good to have a record. As Leanne was saying, you got to take the notes. Yeah, you got to take the notes. So that is what we are going to be referencing today. Okay. So in the pattern, Andrea has us picking up a certain number of stitches that is either a perfect repeat of the chart or kind of an adjusted repeat of the chart, not doing any decreases whatsoever, decreasing before you get to the ribbing, and then putting the ribbing on for a, big balloon sleeve. That's what I'm going to be doing too. We have adjusted how big our armhole is so that we can lean into a big balloon, a medium-sized balloon, a small balloon, however big you want your balloon sleeves to be. We have adjusted that. So we're going to talk about how many stitches we're going to pick up, what the plan is for following the chart or adjusting the chart. If you want to taper that sleeve a little bit, we're going to talk about that too. So really, whatever you want your sleeve to look like, we are going to talk about how to do that. Okay. So first things first, we need to decide how many stitches we're going to be picking up around the armhole. Okay, and that's where we're going to be starting off with the worksheet. So I am going to share my screen. We're going to take a quick peek at what's going on in this worksheet. Okay, so here is our sleeve worksheet. And we're going to start right off with our arm circumference. Okay, so we can go up to, we already planned this out, right? That's from up here at the beginning. I'm going to pull down my 14-inch arm circumference, and then we're going to talk numbers, right? I've got 14 inches that I want. I want to multiply that by my stitch gauge per 1 inch. Again, we're going to pull that from the first page of the worksheet. I'm sitting at 5.25. And that is going to give me 73.5 stitches. Now I am going to keep that 0.5 because what we want to do is see how close we are to a repeat. Okay, now before we talk about rounding up or rounding down to get to a repeat, let's talk it through. Okay, now does your stitch count need to be repeatable by the 26th stitch repeat? The answer is no, it doesn't, right? We do this a lot in sweaters where we are decreasing along the underarm of the sleeve, and it messes up the pattern, right? This is a very common thing that happens in fabric when you're knitting. So if you are doing, especially if you want to do some tapering of your sleeve shape, all right, that means starting at the bicep circumference and tapering it down to a wrist circumference. You're going to be changing up how many stitches you have. You're going to be doing decreases. You don't need to start with a perfect repeat because you're going to be cutting into those repeats as you're decreasing. Okay, so that's just something that you don't have to worry about at all. All right, if you are, crunching these numbers and you're like, I'm in the middle, I don't want to round up or round down, I'm just going to cut one of these stupid repeats in half, and that's how I'm going to do it. That's totally okay too, because again, it's gonna be right here, all right? And our sweaters are gonna fit perfectly. We won't need to be modeling them with our arms up. So whatever's happening down here is nobody's business, all right? So think about that too. It's kind of the same thing that we were talking about where we were gonna stop the repeat. Like it doesn't have to stop at the top of a perfect quilt block. It can be a half of a quilt block. Same thing's happening underneath. Okay, now if it is going to make you insane to not have 26 stitch repeats around your sleeve just for your own sanity, round up or round down if that's going to help you get this done. Okay, so you kind of have to think about what you want your sleeve to look like, what's going to make you the most or the least crazy, and go with that option. Okay, but we don't have to fit into this perfect box to get these sleeves done. All right, that's my speech about what's happening under here. Okay, so the way that we'll kind of figure out how that works is a similar way to how we figured out how many stitches we were casting on or on the body, right? And I'm going to share my screen again so we can take a look at this. All right, so if we can really crunch these numbers and see how close we are to a repeat. I did this today. So I know that I'm pretty close. Okay, so if we take my cast on number and we divide that by 26 to see again how many repeats we're looking at, that is 2.83. All right, so I kind of know that if I'm going to round up, that's going to be 26 stitch repeat times 3 is 78 stitches. Well, that's pretty close. And I'm pretty good with that. That is going to make me just not even remotely crazy if I pick up 78 stitches around. That's a really nice even number. I kind of like how many repeats that is. I'm okay with that. It's really close to the number that I want to. It's not even adding an inch to my circumference. I'm good with it. All right. Rounding down is going to give me a much smaller number, right? 26 times 2 is only 52 stitches. That's way too short, right? I can double check by dividing that by my stitch gauge per 1 inch. That's only going to give me 5.25. That's going to give me a 9.9 inch sleeve. So we know that's going to be way too small. All right. This is going to be the way that I want to go. So I am going to give that a little highlight, and that's going to be my solution. All right. So if you want to kind of play around with those numbers in that way to see what works the best for your desired sleeve sizing, that's how you do it. You know, check it against that gauge, make sure that sizing makes sense for you. And if it doesn't, you know, if you're right around like 2.5 and you don't want to go up 13 stitches and you don't want to go down 13 stitches, well, 2.5 repeats of the pattern also would look just completely fine hidden underneath the bottom of that sleeve. All right, so dig around, crunch the numbers, see what makes the most sense for you, and that is where we're going to get started. Okay, questions about our pickup number? Great. All right, I love it. Now, what I have here in front of me is a steeked armhole opening. Okay, I'm going to start picking up stitches around the steeked armhole opening because we've got kind of a lot of jagged edges. Nothing's real smooth. It might be a little bit challenging to, see what the right path for picking up stitches is. So I'm going to start picking up stitches. We're going to talk this through and I'm going to get this demo going. Okay. Now, if you are going back and forth, you're going to have an easier path forward, right? Because you don't have those extra steek panels that you need to pick up into. Your pickup area is going to look pretty normal. But if you are looking at that and you have questions about it, don't hesitate to ask. Okay. In the meantime, though, I'm going to start setting up, picking up stitches around this armhole. Okay. So here is my armhole. Now, this is what I'm talking about, right? We've got the split, we've got the steep panel, I've got this edge coming up here, but then I've got this jog over where my ribbing starts. It's a little bit challenging to know what you should be picking up and what you don't need to pick up. Okay, so let's plan it out and then let's do this thing. Okay, so if I am looking to pick up a total of 78 stitches around my armhole, what I want to start off by doing is dividing that up to break up how many stitches I want to pick up. This is typical, you know, planning to pick up around the armhole situation. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that number, I'm going to divide it by 2, which is 39 stitches. I'm going to pick up to the top of the shoulder. Now I can see very clearly where the top of my shoulder is because I've got a nice bound off ridge up here. So I know that from this underarm to the top of this shoulder, I need 39 stitches. But I'm gonna take that a step further. I'm gonna find my quarter markers too. So I'm gonna match up that top shoulder seam with the underarm. So that is gonna help me find a quarter of my stitches and put that in there. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I know that is just giving me even a smaller area that I can break up to make sure I'm picking up my stitches evenly. So if I'm going 39 to the top of the shoulder and I divide that in half, I know that in each quarter, I want to pick up, well, it's 19 and a half, but 19-ish and 20-ish, right? That's what we're aiming for. Okay, so that is just allowing me to keep extra eyes on what's happening. Now, what I want to do in this armpit, first of all, is not worry so much about what's happening in the armpit of my sweater. All right, we're going to just kind of let this go and know that if you end up with just a tiny pull or a little bit of a hole or something in this armpit, that's kind of the nature of this type of armpit. And we can go back in and just seam that up a little bit if we need to. Okay, because the last thing you want to do when you have a little bit of a hole is pick up into the hole. All right, we're steering clear of anything that's happening as the front and the back are spreading away from each other. The way that we're going to try to push these stitches together in this way is by picking up stitches next to the hole. Okay, so that's why I want to start off right here with my first picked up stitch. I want to pick up a stitch into the stitch next to where that separation is happening. Never into the hole, next to the hole. So I'm going to throw my needle in there next to the hole. And that's where my first stitch is going to be picked up. All right, it's kind of underneath where my seat panel is starting. Now what I want to do is kind of jog over to that main color row of my seat panel and pick up both legs of that stitch. So you can see I've got this nice main color strip right here. And that's what I want to dig into. That's what I want to start picking up into. All right. So the middle of the stick panel I cut, that contrasting color, that's where I reinforced. The main color row, in this case, because I knit this way, this will be the 5th stitch of my seat panel. That's where I'm picking up stitches. And I'm just going through both legs of the stitch and picking up. All right. At the same time, what I want to do is keep eyes on my quarter stitch marker here. I know I want to pick up 19-ish, 19 or 20 stitches. And right now I'm picking up every stitch, but I know that I could need to kind of cram an extra stitch in there. I could need to skip a stitch to make sure that I'm picking up the correct number of stitches. Whatever you need to do to get that number, that's what you want to do. Okay. So I'm getting a little bit close to that first stitch marker here. So I'm going to give my stitches a count. All right, 11. And I can kind of get ahead of this a little bit by counting 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Pretty good, actually. It looks like I can just pick up every stitch right up to my quarter marker. So that worked out really perfectly. It's like I planned it or something. Imagine that. All right, now I'm making sure that I'm picking up these stitches really well into the same stitch by looking at my needle, making sure that my stitches are pretty evenly spread out, and making sure that if I'm pulling on my needle a little bit, I'm not seeing big gaps or big holes or anything when I'm picking up. And when I get to the marker, I don't want to remove that marker. I want to leave it there because it's going to help me. I'm actually going to move it onto my needle so I can see it properly. I'm using that to count because I want to make sure that I've got my 19 stitches on this side. I want to pick up 20 stitches up to the shoulder here. So that marker, I don't want to remove it because it's giving me a landmark to start counting from. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now, we will have another one of those little jogs happening when we get to the end of this steek panel and into the ribbing. And that can be a little bit tricky too, right? I've got a little jog over there. So what I'm going to do is get to the end of the steek panel. And now what I want to do is make sure that I kind of bridge this gap right here. It looks more dramatic than it is, but I want to make sure that I'm not picking up into the bind off. I want to pick up into the next stitch. It's kind of like kind of a sloped bind off. And if I pick up into the first stitch of the ribbing, I'm going to go a little bit farther too. You'll see that that just slopes over enough where it just looks super normal. Right? What happens when you accidentally pick up into that bound off stitch, you can see that there's the top of the steek panels right here. If I pick up into this bound off stitch, that's when things get real stretched out. See, that just kind of pulled and created a hole because the bound off stitch is smaller than the actual stitches. That's when you could have a little bit of pull or a little bit of gap. So that's the thing that you just want to avoid when you are picking up stitches from the steek panel into the ribbing. All right. And you can keep an eye, you can just make sure. Now, if you start to notice a little hole and you are into your sleeve, don't worry. That's another situation where we can just give it a couple little stitches and seam that up. But it's something we're trying to avoid. Okay. Now I want to make sure because my ribbing stitches are smaller than my color work stitches here, you may need to adjust how often you pick up stitches here because there's just more of them that are covering less ground. So make sure you're counting how many stitches you're picking up and adjust up at the ribbing if you need to make sure that you end up with the correct number of stitches. All right. I found when I was picking up that I needed to skip a couple ribbed stitches as I was picking these up to get everything to work out. So that's not unusual because these rib stitches are smaller. Okay. So when you get to that bound off area, then you can take a little breather, maybe pull, if you're doing a magic loop, you can pull your needle out, flip over your work, and do the same thing on the other side. All right, but that is how we're going to pick up those stitches. And I'm going to swing this over too, so we can see how that looks. There's one little line of main color right at the join, which you can see, and then we go right into our pattern. All right, so that is how we are going to get these stitches picked up. Miss Leanne.
So your main color is the same as your ribbing color?
I did do that, yes.
Yeah, so mine is, I have a different color. So I'm
Yeah.
still picking up with my main color of my body, not my
Because
ribbing.
you're gonna continue knitting with the main color of the body, Leanne. Yes, that's true. Bye, Nina.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's gonna go blend more seamlessly into the background of the sleeve.
So it will, because I was thinking
Yes.
it's going to be more of a contrasting because it's such a different color, but
But
I mean, Andrea Mowry did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
and she does have a close up. I was looking at that too, actually. She has a really nice close up in the pattern, I feel. Or you know what? I was actually looking. Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
right here. Here. Yeah, let me share the
Page
screen.
4.
I was looking too at that sneak peek that she posted of the new
Oh.
pattern that we've all been bitching about on the party, Leanne, right? But that's another one too. Yeah, page 4, right? So you can see right here. And let's see if I can, zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you can see exactly
Yeah.
where she has picked up here with the background color of her sleeve.
And it looks fine. Yeah.
And it looks fine, yeah, because it becomes part of the sleeve. This ribbing area looks like a completely different area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you've already done your 3-needle bind off up here before you picked
Yeah,
up?
you want to totally finish the vest part, Katie, of the sweater before you move forward with the sleeves.
I tried to follow, and and you know, usually I'm excellent at following her directions. I could not figure out what the hell she was saying, and it looked like she was binding off, going the wrong direction or something. I was like, is my brain not working? I mean, just a
Oh,
regular
really?
3-needle bind off, right? You just go
In
across.
her instructions?
Yes.
I didn't even read them.
I was like,
Are they
what the
weird?
hell?
Yeah,
Well, to
I
me
didn't
they
even read
were.
it.
I didn't know if anybody else. Either that or I'm totally losing it. You know, I'm having trouble
Let's
with
hope
time
it's
zones.
Andrea. I'd rather have it be Andrea than you, Katie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I did. Yeah, it's just a regular 3-needle bind off
Okay,
as far as
okay.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'll do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a decrease on my sleeve, so just wing it. I don't have to work. You know, at the ribbing, I didn't go in. So is that a big deal? I'm assuming
Oh, you just kept the rib. You didn't bind off your steek panel?
I did, but I
Oh.
didn't go in the one stitch at the ribbing, where like yours did. Yeah,
I'm sure it's fine.
hopefully it was only like 1 or 2 stitches, right? I just went.
Yeah.
just went
Maybe
straight
mine
up.
looked more pronounced because I'm using bigger yarn. That could have been part of it too, Katie. But yeah, if you didn't notice it, it doesn't exist, and who cares?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Any other questions about picking up stitches? All right. So I just blabbered on a lot purposely to get you to think about how you want your repeats to happen on your sleeves. So since you have done maybe a little bit of processing, does anyone have any decisions to make about picking up more or picking up fewer or cutting the repeat in half? Anybody crunch those numbers and make those decisions? Miss Leanne, how about you?
Yeah, so mine, I'm going for a 14.5 arm circumference.
Yeah.
And my gauge is 5.5. So I was at 79.75. So I'm just going down to the 78.
I love that. We're basically twins, sleeve
Yeah.
twins, Leanne.
So,
Yeah.
and then I
Nice.
calculated my wrist circumference. So I know
Oh,
how
so
many.
you're getting ahead too.
Well, because I'm not knitting, because I'm not going to be doing my short row and decreases while we're doing this. So I just went ahead on my worksheet.
Yeah, I love that. That's smart. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Michelle's in too. 78 stitches. Nice. Yeah, perfect. Jody, what did you end up doing for your sleeve?
Well, mine was a little bit different because I bound off at my underarm, or I put those stitches on hold.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah, so I did mine a little differently. But I just made it easy for myself, whatever was closest. So I had 66 stitches that I had to fully pick up. And I figured I'd show you everybody so you can see, like,
Yeah.
you cannot tell
Oh.
the repeat at all. And I even did, so mine was like pretty big up here. And I didn't want to have, I did some decreases like right at the fattest part of my arm because I didn't want to have a really huge balloon at my wrist. But you can't see, like, especially if you're using a color changing yarn. I mean, you cannot see where you're decreasing stitches. Yeah. So, and when you look at the pattern, like if you use the second pattern repeat that has the extra stitches.
Yeah, let me pull that up so people can see that. So let me go down. I zoomed too much. All right. So here's where the sleeve options are. Okay, this is what Jody's talking about. This is the normal chart that we've been following, but she does break it up in case you need to go with like a half size.
Yeah, and the nice thing about it is that as I was decreasing, you just got down to
to the repeat.
Following a really easy repeat, which was ending up being like 3 of one color and 3 of the other. I did that for 3 rows and then I flipped it just so it, so that kind of made it easy. But that was
nice.
that mixed with that matched the numbers I needed. So it was easier to do that than to pick into the other repeat. It made it easier to follow. And I put stitch markers everywhere, like on the sleeve. It just made it easier. And I will say the sleeves go so fast.
Yeah.
They
I
just go like, you're like whip,
I
whip.
started this morning.
Yeah. So I've knit like half of a sleeve today, pretty much. It goes really, really fast. So that's nice.
Yeah, it does feel good. Yeah, Diana said she started hers too. She's kind of reverse engineering it. But yeah, it's kind of nice having a circumference that's big rather than a circumference this big. Yeah, sleeves. It's a revelation. Yeah, Jody, that was so helpful. Thank you for showing that. Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any sleeve thoughts? We're having lots of sleeve thoughts this month, right? Sleeve-tember. Burns, how about you? Burns, you have sleeve thoughts? And then we'll go back to Leanne.
Yeah, I haven't been able to crunch my numbers, but mine are kind of similar to Leanne's as well, where it's like my arm circumference, I'm trying to get it's like 14.5. My stitches per inch are 5.56 stitches per inch. So it'll probably be similar to what you're seeing. I'll that way.
You can join our throuple with Michelle, Leanne, and I. Come on in, Burns. Yeah. Miss Leanne.
No, I was just gonna say I really noticed on Jody's, like her sleeve looks so different from her body. Like the colors.
Yeah. The way
so
the
it really
colors
doesn't
are.
matter. Yeah.
No. Yeah, because it's a longer repeat because it's a smaller circumference.
Right. And I'm using like a different, I'm going to run out of my spin cycle. So I'm using like a different skein, not the body ones, but it's still like same colorway. So I think it'll look great. Yeah.
It will look great. It will look great. And if you want to kind of do what I was doing too, where you kind of fade it together, I don't even think you'll need to do that because it's color changing, Leanne. But
Right.
if you are in like a weird spot and you want to kind of bring it in a certain way, that'll make it even more seamless.
I was
Yeah.
super concerned with that on a different sweater that I used, like a color changing yarn, and I drove myself crazy. And then I took a class with Allison and she was like, who the fuck cares? Just do whatever. And it was
That
like
sounds just like
freeing.
me.
Yeah, it just was
Yeah.
so freeing. And I don't notice it at all because it just, the color, because it's not like stripes and you're like you don't notice it at all. So I just got lucky this time that where I picked up is going to be very similar. But I just said, F it. I'm picking up with what I have and it's going to look like what it looks like. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, Leanne, you're muted.
There's so much going on in this sweater that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I say let it go. Let it go. Yeah. Okay. So, Pam, you have you have a stage 4 clinger.
The problem is she wants my spot where I'm sitting. There's a nice warm spot
So it
here. So if I
really,
get up, she will steal my spot.
oh my God, just like nose to nose,
Yeah.
the whole class. So funny. Oh my gosh. But it's not about you. It's about the spot, Pam.
It
That's
is.
so
Yeah.
rude.
I took her out and she didn't need to go out, but then it was like, okay, I'm ready to curl up in this little corner
Yeah.
spot. But
And
it's
you're in my spot.
yeah. Yeah. So, but the table is here and I can put my iPad on the table. So it was
Yeah.
an
The dog
easier, yeah,
needs to be reminded, dog. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It,
Braille and
yeah.
I have to have those talks sometimes too, where I'm like, you're a dog.
Yeah.
The end of the story,
But
buddy.
yeah, dogs in this house usually are like, I'm a dog, you need to move. So
So Pam, how's your sweater?
well, I finished the first repeat really fast and then
Yeah.
I put it down and I kind of do a little round or two every now and then, but I will come back to it hopefully after I finish that damn sheep sweater. So yeah.
Yes. Well, I love that plan. That sounds
Okay.
like a good
Yes.
plan. Yeah. And your dog is the cutest.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yes, she's a good girl.
Okay. So those of you who are decided not doing any decreases, like me, it looks like Diana, not doing any increases, just going up. Yeah, you can just knit until your sleeve is done. Now, I did include a little bit of planning. If you want to look at your sleeve length, multiply that by your row gauge to see where you're going to end in the pattern, right? We kind of did that too when we were planning out how many repeats we were going up the body. You'll see that in the worksheet as well, okay? Just in case you feel any kind of way about where that ribbing is going to start, okay? Another thing that you can do too is if you are going to put in a decrease round to kind of fill out that balloon before you get to the ribbing, you can calculate like that. What Leanne was saying too. Look at your wrist circumference, multiply that by your stitch gauge per 1 inch. Subtract that number from the current number of stitches you have on your needle, and that is your decreased stitches that you want to do before you go to the ribbing. And you can reference our friends at World Knits Knitting Calculator to get yourself a decrease round. That is going to help you do that. Now keep in mind, if you are going from a lot of stitches to a small amount of stitches, you might error out the World Knits Knitting Calculator, because if you're decreasing more than half the number of stitches, she just gives you a middle finger and says, no, you can't do it. All right. Because that is to knit two together around. The tech ends. She doesn't just give you knit three together. All right. It's knit two together, and then you get to do another decrease round to get it even smaller. All right. But don't freak out if you have broken the World Knits Knitting Calculator because you want to decrease out more than half of the number of stitches. Okay. But if you're, manipulating that in a more reasonable way, that is the way that we do that. Switching over back to your ribbing needle and then doing as much ribbing as you want to. All right. Now that is, I'm guessing, how most people are gonna get these sleeves done. But if you are going to be increasing or decreasing, tapered, kind of like what Jody was talking about, then you can use the bottom section of the sleeve worksheet to calculate where those decreases are going. Okay. Looking at the total number of inches you're going to be knitting and spreading those out evenly. Using markers really helps keep track of them, like Jody was showing in her sleeve. And keep in mind that if you have a more fitted sleeve, you may want to put those decreases where it makes the most sense for your arm. For instance, I never decrease at this portion of my arm. I only decrease at this portion of my arm. So my decrease area is not the entire sleeve. It is only my forearm. All right. So if you have a lot more ease, though, it doesn't matter. You can just kind of spread that out. But if you have a more fitted sleeve, keep that in mind and only decrease where your arm actually gets smaller. Okay. Now, sleeves can look any way you want them to, of course. Does everyone feel confident in their plan forward? We'll take blank stares. Great. All right, Michelle's giving me a thumbs up. Katie's nodding. I love it. All right, perfect. I know it's getting late, everybody. It's okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions about their sleeves?
I don't have a question about my sleeve, but a 10-second question. When you do your 3 needle bind off, were you matching front and back so that it look like knit and knit, or did you just go, what the fuck, go?
I said, what the fuck, go, but that's my personality.
Well, that's what I was like, man. Well, I made a silly mistake and I tried to match because there was one time I did a double. I don't know what I was doing when I was turning or something. Anyway, so I was just like, oh, what the hell? I'm just gonna go. Who's looking at the front and the back at the same time?
Yeah, it does have a nice line that kind of distracts the eye. I'm looking at mine and they are exact opposite, actually.
Excellent.
Oh, Jody said hers are exact opposite too. And that I think takes more skill than matching them.
I'm just gonna go with whatever the heck turns up because I'm gonna do it watching TV and I didn't want to have to pay attention.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, do what your heart tells you, Katie. Yeah.
No, it's just I didn't want to exercise the brain any more than it had to at this hour.
Yeah, we're exercising a lot of brain power with the rest of this shenanigans. Yeah. All right. Any other questions about anything going on with your sweater? All right. I was going to take a quick peek to double check our dates. All right. So we have a framed celebration on October 2nd. That is going to be our last Zoom meetup. October 2nd feels like it's 6 months away. weirdly, it's not. It's super soon. I was going over my to-do list with Laura this morning, and she kept being like, "Oh yeah, that starts next week." And I kept being like, "Are you fucking kidding? I thought that was 3 months away." Every single thing she said, it's July to me. I don't know how this happened. But October's right around the corner. And so we are going to have our celebration on that day, or like a catch-all class, right? I can I'll do a little neckline question. We're going to be picking up stitches for the neckline, matching the fixing things. This looks weird. Let's get this fixed. We'll talk necklines then. If you don't get super motivated to jump ahead and finish your neckline, we'll do finishing things then. But hopefully everyone has everything they need to keep themselves pretty busy for the next couple of weeks. All right. Diana, what is the minimum rib on sleeves so it doesn't roll? I think that's kind of depends, Diana, on what yarn and everything. I'd say probably because you're going from ribbing to color work, you want at least an inch. Because there's like a dramatic change in the way that the fabric feels. I would say at least an inch. But it looked like you had more than that.
Yeah, so I should be good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a kimono sleeve on my Art Deco sweater and I loved how it looked. So I'm going to just do the same thing here.
Well, oh, perfect. Even easier, right?
Right. Yeah. And I'm just
Yeah.
going to match it up to that.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, I say an inch and you're good.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, who wants to do more ribbing than they need
No,
to?
it's this is life is not made for ribbing. It's
Let's
really
go.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Let's move along. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Move forward, not back, right?
Exactly. All right. Any other questions? Feeling good? Pam's finally giving up the seat. Yeah. She hung in for a long time. So, all right. Well, if everybody feels good, we can call it a night. I wanted to, Vicky isn't here. But, did, did anybody else see the picture that she posted of her sweater in the workroom? I could not get my shit together. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up so we can look at it. Vicky, listen, we're laughing with you, obviously. But we gotta look at this. Something somewhere went awry in her armhole length calculations because she shared this picture and her armhole is longer than her body. I was hoping she would be here so we could ask her how this happened. It was funny because she said my gauge might have grown. No. She measured wrong. No. Or something. Yeah. You didn't divide the circumference in half. And so you wanted like a 12-inch circumference, but you knit 12 inches and now you have a 24-inch circumference.
Just seam it up, right? Can't you just seam it up?
Yeah.
Seam it up to where you want to go.
And put a belt on it. Yeah, that's
Put a belt on it. We got a lot of options. Yeah. My answer I thought was pretty good. I just said, good thing balloon sleeves are very in. And you love them. Like she didn't have any option but to love them. You love balloon sleeves. Poor Vicky. Yeah, Kristen, it's exactly right. This is why she does her math the next morning. Yeah, you got to have it fresh. Yeah. So I just love that Vicky was like, I'm not going to think twice about this is good. Time to cut open my steaks. So Vicky, when you're watching this video, we love you very much. And I still think your sweater is gonna look great. So, get it, girl. Get it.
I think she should
Yeah.
make a little panel of one repeat, and
And
seam
like
it in.
seam it
Seam
in.
it
Oh,
in,
that'd
but
be cute. Or
yeah,
like she could even do it with her
do
contrasting
it
color. Like,
backwards, somehow.
yeah. 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 And that'd be cute. Be
Yeah.
like kind of patch it underneath
Yes,
a
yeah,
little
I
bit.
think it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think so too. Everyone would be like, ooh, what'd you do to that? That's the coolest.
Yeah,
She'd
yeah.
be like, I'm not telling you what I did. This is a secret. Yeah, I've trademarked this.
Too
Yeah.
much wine that day, so can't remember.
The other thing is it'd be so heavy. If she keeps that big balloon sleeve, it's gonna be really heavy, I would think.
Yeah, it's a lot of sleeve. Yeah, it's a lot of sleeve.
Well, it's also
Yeah.
gonna change the shape of the whole sweater because it's gonna drag down the top and
Yeah.
Couldn't she just go for those sleeves that start at like your,
The
starts
bat
with like
wing.
a, yeah,
The
yes,
dramatic decrease.
really. I mean, as long as it covers your boobs, really high-waisted pants, like
The highest waisted
like
pants.
the under the boob.
Yeah. Where the pants are also a bra.
Hey, that sounds great to me.
Yeah, right? That's double duty.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is why we're doing the workroom, right? You're gonna figure out a way forward. So check your math, like Kristen, to look at it again in the morning, everybody, right? We don't need any more of that. All right. If everybody feels good, we can wrap this up. All right. Keep me posted. Hopefully, if everybody is close to doing sleeves, everyone feels the same as Jody and I, and just like blasts through these sleeves. It feels really nice. And if these sleeves are a sleeve timber goal, I believe in us. We got 20 days left of this month. I think we can get this done. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, keep me posted. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a great couple of weeks. Keep sharing your progress. Can't wait to see more. And I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.